Hi, am I on? I am live. How are you? This is Modesta Mahigambuguni from Purpose and Excellence. We're starting a new series called How to Bounce Back from Any Setback. I'm very excited that you're here. This is the first time I am going to be intentional about streaming live from YouTube. And so if you have not been following Purposeful Excellence on YouTube, welcome. This is where we are. Welcome to our channel. We want to make this as vibrant as our Instagram and our Facebook platforms are. So today we start a new series called How to Bounce Back from Any Setback. My lighting is kind of funny because my lighting is up here and I've decided to sit down here, but we'll work with that going forward. Point is, I am here, I am live, and we're going to have a great session. So the first step that we're going to talk about today to bouncing back from any setback is getting a hold of your thoughts and feelings. So guys, for those that know me, you know that I want to get very practical about things. You know that I am the first one to volunteer when I don't do things so well. And I say, okay, Modesta, get your big girl pants up and do the right thing. You know, I don't like sitting there and feeling sorry for myself for too long. Not that I don't do it. Oh my goodness, I do it more often than I'd like to admit. My husband will let you know. But point is, I know I have to bounce back. I know I have to mature. And there's so many things that happen to us in life, and you're thinking, I don't want to grow up. I don't want to be mature. I'm really feeling something. I'm going through something difficult right now. Can I just wallow in it? And our time together is to say, listen, you can either wallow or you can win. You cannot do both. And so, guess what? You are in a whole lot more control than you think. I know I've been looking at myself so much. I really need to be looking at the camera, but I want to be able to see myself so that I can get feedback and see that I'm presenting well. So I'm going to try to look up, but I might be going back and forth. So you are in a whole lot more control of life than you think. Fine. Zig Ziglar said that it is not what happens to us that determines how well, we do in life. Rather, it is how we respond to what happens to us. And so we're going to be talking about today about what you can do about the fact that life just happened. And whether this is at home, whether this is in relationships or at work or in your business, something happens and you're thinking, this is setting me back millions and millions of years. And I'm being funny, but this is a setback for me. And so what do you do when you feel like, oh my goodness, this is going to change everything. This alters everything. This puts me at a loss. This kills that relationship. This makes me lose that deal. This is going to cost me my job. What do you do when life happens and you have this setback, or what looks to you to be a setback? How do you bounce back from something like that? And so I'm a change management practitioner. I'm many things. I'm a lawyer. I'm an advocate. I'm a human capital transformation consultant. I am an executive coach. But one of the things that I'm certified in is change management. And I particularly like the ADKAR model of ProSci change management. And it says this: for you to change anything, you first need to know that there is a problem. And this problem needs to change. You need to have an awareness that there is an issue. So that's the first thing on the ADKAR change management model. Awareness. And this is what we're talking about today, self-awareness. The second thing that goes from there is, okay, fine, I know that there's a problem and I'm aware that there needs to be a change. The second thing is desire. Do I even want to do anything about it? Because let's be honest, many a times we know something is wrong, but we don't necessarily want to do anything about it. And so we live with it and let it fester and let it grow, and it becomes part of our identity. But what if you could build a desire to actually change what is not working well for you in your relationship, in your family, in your marriage, in your business, in your work, with your career trajectory? Number 3 on the ADKAR change management, like you realize, look, I have a setback. There's a problem here and I need to do something about it. Number 3, after awareness that there is a problem and that you need to do something about it. Number 2, having the desire, because you could be aware and you have no desire at all to do anything about it. Number three is knowledge. You may know that there's a problem and actually want to do something about it, but don't know how to go about it. And so the third element of the ADKAR change management model is, what do I do? What do I do about the fact that there is this issue? And what you do falls under knowledge. And so getting the knowledge, and I am all for this. Everything to me is, you can figure it out. Everything can get strategies to help you through. So what you need to do is ask yourself, what knowledge do I need to be able to implement, to institute, to make the change that I need to bounce back from the setback that has happened to me? And then number four is ADKAR, A-D-K-A, is ability. It's one thing to be aware that there's a problem and that be aware that you need to change. Number two is quite another to have the desire to change, because some people may not. Three, to have the knowledge. Actually, what does it take to change? And then number four, the ability. You may have the knowledge, you know exactly the nuts and bolts, exactly what you need to change, but you have no clue, or rather, you don't have the ability to change in the time and to the extent and to the capacity and to the competencies that you need to change. And so that's an issue as well. I'm aware that I have a setback. I really want to do something about it. I have the desire to do something. I know what it takes. And of course, you may not know where you have a setback. You may not know what it takes. And this is where I help you with the success strategies to do that. And I'd mentioned in my little teaser that my husband and I have been through enough twists and turns. I mean, you think we'd be married 50 years for the kinds of things that we've had to endure. But how do we stay resilient? How do we stay focused? How do we continue to win? How do we continue to roll with the punches and still make lemonade out of that lemon? Is the fact that we're staying positive. One of the things is we need to up our game in our ability to change. And then the last thing is reinforce. If you want to bounce back from setback, you need to create an environment where whatever it is that you're going to do, whatever success strategy you're going to apply for you to do well, you are going to be able to keep it. And so I often speak about, making these changes, these strategies as part of your lifestyle. So today what we're talking about is getting a hold of our thoughts and feelings. So imagine this, something has happened to you. You were moving along in your life as you wanted, and out of nowhere, things have gone awry. And you're thinking, this has knocked me off a very long way. This has knocked me off financially. This has knocked me off relationally. Maybe this has cost me my job. What do I do? Well, first thing you need to do is calm down. And so this is what I recommend. As soon as something happens, or if you find yourself in this funk that you're thinking through, everything that's gone wrong, you need to get to a place where you can calm down, get away from noise. I would say get pen and paper. I always have something to write with, and find a space. Go away and ask yourself, and especially get away from people, because you don't want any more stimulus. You don't want any more people speaking to you. Go away and ask yourself, what has just happened? You need to identify what's just happened. And the way you do this is tell yourself a story. Tell yourself to tell yourself what you are interpreting has happened to you. So tell yourself what's happened. It's like you're telling a friend what has happened to you. And you start talking it through. I would recommend that you write down what the setback in your mind is, what you're seeing as a setback is. So so I did the pitch, as the client had asked, blah, 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 this didn't go well. And so now it's going to cost us the account that we have with this client, whatever it is. If it's at work, we've done our midterm reviews, and this is what's come out of my performance. And then, the project that I'm doing, and I do not understand. I did not see that coming. I do not understand how anything could have gone wrong. And I actually wanted to use this, mid reviews, to get a raise or to get a promotion, or, whatever it is, and get that bonus, whatever it is that you were thinking of doing. Now you're set back. Write that down. Tell yourself what it is. And then call things by name. I like saying, when you start off, when you go through a setback, it's like, a ball of string, everything is all meshed together. You cannot pull out a single strand to say, okay, I see you, I see what's the issue here. So when you talk through it and you call things by name, you say, this happened and he said and she said and this was promised, but this is what happened instead. Write them out, call them out, so that you can go from raw emotions and panic to actually being able to articulate thoughts of what you're going through. We haven't solved anything yet, but at least you go from just feeling anxious, feeling panic, feeling like, oh my goodness, the rug has been pulled from underneath me. Everything I had planned is gone awry. So you go from that to saying, okay, this is what I am thinking. This is how I am interpreting the situation. And particularly, ask yourself what you fear. What do you fear this now means to you? What do you fear this is going to happen to you? What do you fear about your career if it's work related? What do you fear about your business? What do you fear about your marriage? I don't know what you're going through and where you feel that you're stagnant or you have a setback. Ask yourself what you fear. So do you fear that you won't bounce back? Do you fear you're going to get fired? Do you fear that you won't get that bonus and you really needed it for, for maybe a personal project that you have, maybe you're building or something? Do you fear that you're stuck in a rut, that you keep on going through the same things over and over, and this year's not going to be any different? Write out your fears. Write out what you fear that you're going to suffer from this setback. Is it going to be a loss? Are you going to now be living under, below your means? Will there not be income for your family? Ask yourself what you are fearing. Ask yourself what you fear you're going to suffer. Ask yourself where you feel like you're out of control and write it down. Like, yeah, I feel like now, that opportunity for me to get that promotion is taken away. I feel that now, without that person who's joined, in my business, this person leaves and that's it, because that client was used to them. And so now I'm going to lose this account because they're used to, working with them and they prefer to work with them. What else do you fear? I fear that I won't reach my financial goals. I wanted to do this by this time. And so this setback happening is just going to throw me off. Or I fear that I keep doing this over and over, that no matter how I tried how hard I try, and despite my best efforts, I keep repeating the same thing. So I fear I am completely broken and cannot get a hold of myself. And I am way too old, way too grown to go through the same struggles over and over. Write out what it is that you fear. Write out how you're interpreting what you're thinking. What is this doing? This is taking you from raw emotion to thoughts. Okay, even if your thoughts aren't positive, even if your thoughts aren't necessarily solving anything, but point is, you're now reclaiming your power and reclaiming your control by saying, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm interpreting this situation to be, this is the consequence I feel I'm going to go through because of what because of the setback, because of what this will mean to me financially, what this will mean relationally, what this will mean in my career, what this will mean for my business, what this will mean for my family. They were depending on me to come through with this. And so if this really is where I am right now, this setback, this is where I am right now, this is going to cost us everything. Write out what you're thinking. Because that awareness that there's an issue here, I am going through something external has happened to me, or it could be something internal that you have done and you just set off something that set you back. You need to think through it and you need to talk through it. You need to write through it. So that it goes from, I'm feeling this, I'm anxious, I wonder, what can I do, to saying, okay, I was on this trajectory, I was on a roll, I was doing well, then this happened to me. I mean, there's a point when I got pregnant and got unwell, I just thought, that's it. I couldn't go to work, and I'm an entrepreneur. I had my colleagues holding fort. And I was just thinking, what is this going to happen? Out of sight, out of mind. I haven't been in the market. And then, after my first child, immediately meeting my husband thereafter, I conceived again 3 months later. And I was down again. I was sick again for the entire 9 months. And so I had a lot of fear that this is a major setback. An entrepreneur cannot be out of the market for 2 years. Nobody gets out of the market for 2 years and expects their business to survive and expects that, their place in the marketplace, the share that they had in the market is going to be sitting there waiting for them. And so I was all panicked and all emotion. I stayed raw emotion for far too long. And listen, if anybody has ever done anything with me, this is what I'm about. Own your transformation. You need to know that you are in a whole lot more control than you realize. Remember your patterns. There's some things that you do, and it's just part of you. It's part of your default. It's what makes you you, which is cool in some respects, but it's not cool when it's negative. So remember the patterns that you have, because you're probably living it out right now. Right now that you're going through your setback, you're in full defense mode. Like, all right, so this means this and that means that, and they said this and they didn't do that, and therefore that means, and you start shutting down to protect yourself. But some of the things that you do to shut down to protect yourself are actually working against you. So remember your patterns. Write down your patterns so that you can short circuit them. So you don't have to go through the whole cycle, the whole vicious cycle of, oh, woe is me, and this hasn't happened. Third thing that I'm all about, being able to own your own transformation. Number 2, to remember your patterns. Number 3 is set your core values. What do you stand for? And what do you want to see in your life? You need to be very clear about that. Otherwise, you're going to be tossed in any which way. Everybody that comes at you has an agenda, whether good or not, but they have an agenda. They know why they're coming to you. If you do not have core values on which you can stand and say, look, I've got this setback right now, but this is who I am. This is what I'm standing for. And so this is what I want out of my life. Despite what's happened, this is how I want to bounce back. If you don't have that, it's going to be difficult. And then after that is come up with a structure, have a plan of how you're going to, get out of it. And then the last thing is have success strategies that you can implement as part of your lifestyle. Because, like me, I'm married, I have kids, I work and I consult, and, I'm part of family, and we're in ministry and all kinds of other things. And so if I cannot, whatever the setback is, be able to tackle it in the reality of my life, then I'm doomed. And so because I am about this, because I'm about owning your own transformation, remembering your patterns so that you can stop them, standing for something or you will fall for anything, have your core values, come up with a plan. Otherwise you're just ranting and raving, and you're getting all emotional, and you're overthinking things. Well, start to strategize and make sure that those strategies align with the reality of your life at the moment. And so to sum it up, and I want to make sure that these live feeds don't go more than 20 minutes. If you have just gone through a setback, whether it just happened today, whether it happened last week, whether last month, whether you've been in this for a couple of years now, listen to me good. You're in a whole lot more control than you think. You are in control. You can turn this thing around, but you first need to get a hold of your thoughts and your feelings. And the way to do that is to remove yourself. Do that today. Take action today. Remove yourself from all the noise, from people. Take pen and paper, traditional pen and paper, and sit down and ask yourself to tell yourself the story of what's going on. Pretend that you're talking to somebody else. Tell them what you're going through right now. So pretend you're with me, right? You have a coaching session with me. Talk to me. What are you going through right now? And call everything by name. This has happened, and this was my plan, and this has happened. Therefore, I fear that this is going to be the issue now. What are some of the things that you fear? What are some of the areas you feel like I've lost control? Like my life is no longer my own. My career is no longer my own. My business is no longer my own. What are the areas you feel like I'm going to suffer? That you're clenching up and you're panicking over, and call everything by name, because tomorrow I want us to come back and then look at what to do about them. Now that you call them by name, I'm looking at my notes. Now that you've gone from raw emotion and panic to actually the scenarios you're imagining, even if the scenarios aren't necessarily positive at the moment, at least you've gone from just feeling I feel out of control, I feel panic, I feel at a loss, and I feel okay, apart from go from I just feel and I'm in confusion with the feeling to this is what I'm thinking. This is how I feel setback. Because sometimes what we think is a setback, it's not even a setback, but that's another topic for another day. This is how I feel that I've gone through a setback. And I feel that these are the consequences. This is what's going to happen. This is how it's going to cost me. And this is why I feel stuck. I was on a trajectory. Something happened. I'm now set back in all kinds of ways, and I don't know how to bounce back. And so, Modesta, you tell me what to do. Now you're giving me something to work with. You have called it by name. You've called your fears by name. You've called what the setback, you imagine the setback to be by name, or you're interpreting the setback to be by name. Now we have something to work with. We went from just raw emotions and feelings and panic and therefore paralysis to opening up to this is what I'm thinking. This is how I'm seeing it. I don't see a way out. This is what I'm interpreting it. Okay, good. Let's call that by name. And then now let's look at what we're going to do about that. And that is tomorrow's topic. So if you've enjoyed this and you'd like to get more, please do subscribe to Purpose and Excellence on our YouTube channel. We're also on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter. And share this with other people. I am here to build you up for the marketplace. But listen, you exist in an ecosystem. You exist in your context at home. You exist in relationship with other people. You exist in a whole lot more than just going at it in work and business. And this is why when I address topics like this, it's to just get the totality of you, just you and your thoughts and your feelings and some of the things that happen to you that can compromise you, that can affect your performance in the marketplace. And so if you're enjoying Purpose and Excellence, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, turn on that bell, click on that bell so you can get notifications when I'm back on, and share with other people so that we can win together. Listen, 2019, Purpose to Excel. This is your life. Be great at it. This is your life. Fight for it. Modesta Maika Bugudi from Purpose and Excellence. Until tomorrow, have an amazing day. Bye.